You are listening to the Marc Guzman Podcast Experience. So our next topic is my origin story, my real estate, how I got into real estate. So last week we heard about Brian's origin story, and mine is similar in that I was not bitten by a radioactive spider, nor am I a Sith Lord as much as I want to be, because I have entire...
I was really disappointed by that.
Yeah, I even, my license plate on my car says Sith Lord, and I've got Sith Lords tatted on my leg too. But unfortunately, I'm still not a Sith Lord. I don't have special force powers. But anyway, I started in real estate when I was at the age of 18 years old. This was 2003. I graduated high school. And literally, what I wanted to do when I was in high school is become an architect. And that was my dream. I mean, I was one of those geeky kids that I even took architect class in high school for a few years. And I had a great professor. He gave me a bootleg version of AutoCAD. And I had a drafting table in my room, the whole deal. Like, I was 100% committed to becoming an architect. My dilemma, which, after some conversations with my parents was, well, how am I going to pay for college? And I knew that really going out and trying to get student loans and then looking at the payback after you graduate wasn't really the smart thing to do. So I really wanted to find a way where I can work, make some money, and use that money in order to pay off college tuition. And so my aunt at the time, Raquel Lewis, who still does real estate out of Fairfield, California, I believe she's with Delta Realty. She was making a killing at the time. It was 2003 and real estate was very good. It was booming, and she introduced me to real estate. So I started working for her part-time my very first year in real estate. So actually going back a little bit to high school, so I decided I'm going to work for my aunt as an assistant and get my license, sell a few transactions, and use that money to pay my way through college. And I remember in my high school classes, I always sat in the very back so the teacher couldn't see me. While the teacher's talking about whatever lesson that they had planned, I'm sitting in the back reading real estate principles, reading those books, studying basically how to pass my exams. No, it wasn't. I was more into business. So I was studying these real estate books, reading the real estate books, and 2 months or 3 months after I graduated, I literally went and took the real estate exam, passed it on my first try, got my license, and started working with the company that my aunt was working with at the time, and basically started with her as an assistant for the first few months until my mentors at the time hired me. They did a lot of flipping homes. They did REO sales. They did quite a bit of stuff in the real estate industry. And they basically mentored me, and I worked on their team for quite a few years. And from there, everything just kind of developed into different partnerships and businesses. And 16 years later, here I am now. I mean, it's been a journey, but that was basically my origin story.
I didn't realize you started 18 either as well.
Yeah.
I didn't think you were born in the same month.
Yeah, I wanted to work, get a job. My parents did not want me to get a job. They wanted me to focus just on school. And so I said, okay, fine. I'm going to focus on what I'm going to do right after. And I started selling a few transactions, and I said, goodbye college. I did a few transactions, and I got hooked. That whole chase, the sale, the business side of it all. And I started to realize that the average architect at the time coming out of college would make about $40,000 to $45,000 per year. And my very first year in selling real estate, now keep in mind.
So your whole enticement was not because you were young and needed the money.
Yeah.
So it was because you were young and needed the money.
I didn't need the money, but I realized I could make a lot more money selling real estate, because the very first year I worked a few months as an assistant with my aunt. And then when I started working with Jack and Gary, my mentors at the time, selling properties, we had a deal to where they took a big chunk of my commission, but they taught me everything. And it was the most valuable education ever. And it's something that I really recommend a lot of people to consider when they first get into real estate. But even with that, my first year, I made $65,000.
That's really good.
$20,000, yeah, $20,000 more what I would have made as an architect. And so I just told myself I could speed this up by 4 years.
There was a time when I thought if I made $60,000 a year, I'd made it. It was it. That was it. I was balling. Little did I know that the buying power of that would drop.
Yeah, yeah. So, but that was a while back, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So basically, that's my origin story and how I got into real estate, and it's been one amazing journey. And as you can see, today's my birthday, and I am now 34 years old, and I'm excited because in the last 16 years of my career, which is kind of weird to say at this age, I also realized that I've got a solid 30 more years to go.
That's
And
it? No, I'm expecting more out of you. I got 20 more in the tank. I gotta.
well,
You gotta go a little bit more than
I
that.
think I can go more, but I've got solid 30.
Good.
Easy,
Okay. All right.
solid
All right.
30.
All right. I'm gonna hold you to that 30 years later.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's been a fun journey, and I'm really excited for what we're going to do and build here with BG Asset Management and going forward.
Oh no,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah. So let's get right into our building analysis now.
Okay,
So
great.
what are we going to analyze today? It's